I'm gonna say.
Why do you do that?
All right. What's today?
Friday.
Today is
The
Friday.
third.
Ah.
Shut up.
Friday
She's
the
sleeping.
Which means
Holy Convocation. There should be no survivor.
it's actually not Friday biblically, right? It's actually Saturday, Sabbath day, right?
Is it sunset already?
It sure is,
What time is
sweetheart.
it?
But all right. So it's the Sabbath. You just got done with praise and worship. How was the food?
Good.
Amazing.
I was
Very
so,
good.
it was so right. It was so right. Thanks you guys for coming. Does anybody want to come up here and give a testimony or something for the week? No. You guys just been good, super good, all week. Okay. Well, I went through some fires. I'll say that, man. But all right. Hey, if you guys got your Bibles, go ahead and open up to Isaiah chapter 6. We're gonna get started with the word.
Chapter 6.
Isaiah.
6 o'clock. I told you it was going to
Isaiah.
I was at 66.
8:29.
I was just
8:29.
66.
Okay, let's go to 8:30 because it's gonna be on that page.
8:30.
8:30. Chash, you want to come up here and say something? No, you good? All right.
Was it? 30?
Actually, we'll start at the beginning of chapter 6. Okay.
8:29.
29.
In the year the king Uzziah died, and saw that the Lord sitting upon the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain
He did fly.
and one cried out to another, and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Yah of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory, and the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with
Smoke.
Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean
Lips.
and I dwell in the midst of the people of unclean
Lips.
For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of
Hosts.
Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth, and said,
Lo.
This hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken
Away.
and thy sin
Purge.
purged. Also I heard a voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I, Here I am. Here am I. Send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive it not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their
Heart.
and convert and be
Healed.
Then I said, Lord, how long? And he answered, Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without men, and the land be utterly
Desolate.
desolate. And the Lord hath removed men far away, and there be a great forsaking in the midst of the land. But yet it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be
Eaten.
as a teal tree and an oak, whose substance is in them. When they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. All right, let's go back a little bit, and we're going to go to 7. And he laid it upon my mouth, right, the coal, and he said, Lo, hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Also I have the voice of the Lord, saying, Whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Then said I, Here am I, send me. So we are, for those that are chosen, and that want to be chosen, right? For those who are forsaking their ways and turn from sin, right? We are called to be leaders. We're called to be the light in the darkness, okay? And so how can we be the light in the darkness if even ourselves are dark, right? If we're doing what the world does, how are we any different than the world, right? We have to be able to be utilized by the Most High. Meaning we got to turn away from our sin, and we have to hold a holy standard. We just can't be like everyone else. Most High wants us to be a peculiar people, separated from the world, right? That means we're not going to be doing what they do, right? For the simple-minded, yeah, we have to eat. Yeah, we have to work. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The regular everyday life stuff, it's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the life that you live, the examples that you're setting, and how the people know you at work, how the people know you on your way to and from work, right? You cutting people off, you giving them the finger, and this and that, you know what I'm saying? You super irate with everyone, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you have no substance, right? Or are you going to be the light in this darkened world? Are you going to go and help those in need, right? Are you going to be kind to people and show them the way, right? And I'm not talking about all people, because, you know what I'm saying, we do have enemies and this and that. You still got to love them, according to the most, Yeshua? Yeah, sure. According to Yeshua, but, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, we have to be a living example, right? And so we have to make ourselves a living sacrifice to the Most High. You know what I mean? And so if we are not being a living sacrifice, then how can the Most High use us, right? We want to be separate. We want God to bless us, right? We want the Most High to bless us, right? We want to be called His chosen. We want Him to say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." But yet we're not faithful with anything He's given us. We're not faithful with the things that we eat, keeping His dietary law. We're not faithful with keeping His commandments, right? Because we're breaking every Sabbath. We're breaking His feast days. We're breaking, you know what I'm saying? And so with His statutes and His judgments, are we breaking those too? So technically, you're breaking all these things. How can the Most High use you, right? Am I right or wrong?
Right.
It's kind of quiet in here. I feel like some of us are slipping, right? But it's all right. If we can acknowledge where we're doing wrong, then we can fix that and get it right. If we want to be called by the Most High. If we want the Most High to be able to use us, right?
Right.
We have to learn how to perfect ourselves and learn how to perfect the craft that the Most High has given us, okay? And by doing that, we do got to study the Word. And I encourage, especially the women, because there's going to be a lot of men that will come into your life, right, claiming they know truth, and because the women are easily drawn from what the man talks about, right, they like to listen and take heed, especially if he's kind of good looking or something, right, because they want to believe this person, right? They could be beguiled easily, right, just like the serpent did in the garden, okay? But this is why it's important, especially the women, because they will teach you a false doctrine and teach you a false way, and they will not show you the way to the Most High, okay? But if you study your Word and you read it to gain understanding, and not just read it because it's a task, and, you know, obviously pray unto the Most High that it opens your heart and your mind and it allows you to understand, then you'll be able to understand what God is trying to reach you and talk to you about. Then you know when these little snakes come about trying to whisper in your ear and using the Bible, you know, for their own selfish gain, then you can say, well, hey, I hear what you're saying, man, but you're a snake, and I don't need to listen to you, right? Because the Most High says this, you know, the Bible says this and that. What kind of standard are you holding, right? You want to check them in the spirit, you know what I'm saying? Because the flesh obviously is trying to probably get in the pants. Now, it's a common thing because men are highly attracted to women, you know what I'm saying, especially their beauty. And so we go to Proverbs 31. Is that the one? Right? Where it talks about we're not going to turn there. Or we can turn there if I could get a reader. You want to come up and read? Because ultimately, yeah, come up here when you're done finding the page. Ultimately, we need women to be this Proverbs 31, okay? And it is not an easy task, but it is a task that is available for all women to choose to live by. Now, the world will have you think that living according to the world, because we look at the movie industry, the music industry, everything. All of these industries are all showing the woman's body, right? They're glorifying the body instead of glorifying the mind, right? And then for the so-called men, I'm gonna call them boys, they like a weak-minded woman because they're easier to control, right? And it takes a real man to obtain a strong-minded woman, right? And I'm not talking about, oh, she's always talking back to me and this. No, I'm talking about she knows a thing or two of what the word says, and she knows how to live, and she knows how to conduct herself in public and in private, and she knows who she is in the Most High. This is what I'm talking about. And so the women, I really encourage you to learn who you are in the Most High and start holding the standard, right? Because a lot of you guys are falling by the wayside because you're trying to compete with what the industry is trying to tell you need to be like. How about we just listen to what the Most High is telling you to be like? Be modest, right? Don't be falling for every man. You know what I mean? Try to keep them legs closed, you know what I'm saying? And I understand we all need somebody, right? But don't just keep giving it up to the Joe Schmo and all these people that ain't got nothing going for themselves, right? It's hard to find a real man and a strong man. But just always know the real man and the strong man are always wanting you to keep going up and obtaining knowledge and growing in that manner. The real men aren't going to be discouraged by you being a go-getter and being, you know what I'm saying, having a voice, having knowledge of the scripture and stuff like that. A real man's going to love that because then he doesn't have to explain to you every single detail if you're a weak-minded woman, right? A real man will have to step up. It'll cause him to even grow, right? And so I say, hey, women, start reading your word, all right? Israel's going to come up here and start reading. You go ahead and come up here and start reading.
So more.
From you can post it. You can post it right there. Yeah. So did you say what you're going to be reading?
I'm going to be reading from Proverbs, verse 10 through 31. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and portion to her maidens. She considereth a field, and buyeth with it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretched out her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household.
Yeah.
For all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple.
I mean, she's dressing nice. And she got her family dressing nice. Go ahead.
Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strengthened and honored and are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of the idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor and deceitful, and beauty is vain.
Beauty
but
is what?
Vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord.
A woman that what?
Feareth the Lord.
Feareth the Lord.
Shall be praised.
Shall be
praised.
All right.
Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
In the gates. You see? Again, go ahead, man. Appreciate it. So, it doesn't always come down to beauty, right? Eventually, we're all going to get old, and then, beauty changes, you know what I'm saying, pertaining to the industry, right? They want you to look a certain way, do a certain thing, and you're stuck on this makeup stuff, and you're never truly yourself. You begin to lose yourself, by trying to cover your face up and trying to be something that you're not. God created you naturally beautiful, right? But the industry says, hey, wear some makeup, wear some lipstick, use some eyeliner, use some eyelashes, use some implants, right? Let's get some implants in your chest, implants in your booty. You know what I'm saying? And the world has deemed that, hey, this is beauty, right? And so, well, I want to be attractive to other men and this and that and da-da-da, right? But I'm telling you, a real man, he's going to appreciate who you are when you're strong in the Most High. And it doesn't matter your looks, because he's going to fall in love with you for the woman that you are in the Most High. Now, I got a bone to pick with some of you so-called dudes pimping out your wives, right? You staying home, you got your woman working and stuff like that, where you ain't really even doing much. You barely clean the house, and you know what I'm saying? You ain't a real man. I'm going to tell you that. Because scripturally, the man is supposed to take care of his family. The man is supposed to take care of his wife, not vice versa, right? Now, I understand you got medical issues or whatever, but at the end of the day, you got to try harder, right? And if if your job permit, you know what I'm saying, try to be a breadwinner. Try to go for them raises, right? If you got to make more money for your family, get a second. Like, I got a second job. I even got a third job, right? So I'm out here trying to provide for my family, and I feel good about it, knowing that I'm taking care of my family. The Bible says, if you don't take care of your own, you are worse than an infidel, all right? And I ain't trying to be no infidel. I want the Most High to be like, hey, you know, I see you, son, I see you trying, and y'all know rent is high, and the bills is high, and gas is high, and food is expensive now, and this and that, but you're really trying, right? My wife, hey, virtuous woman, she does stuff on the side, right? She flips, she sells things, she buys and resells, and she tries to make money, but I'm not asking for any of her money, right? What she decides to do with her money, it's on her. If I need help, I know that she'll help me. I know that she got me, right? Let's say all the bills is paid, and I only got like $20 for gas, but I need $60 for gas. Like, hey, boo, you got me? She'll, yeah, I got you. You know what I mean? Because it's nothing, right? But as long as I make sure all the bills is paid, I know I'm being a man that the Most High has required me to be, right? Because the Bible says, by the sweat of thy brow, not by her brow, right? She has a different curse, and we have a different curse, biblically. Now, again, you so-called men, right? The Bible states that the women are the weaker vessel, right? We're talking about spiritually, maybe, physically, right? Emotionally. And so, a lot of these so-called men, right? You think you're a gangster, right? You think that you got it all together, that you can pull multiple women, and whatever it is you think you got going, you're really still a boy, right? Because you haven't elevated any such, right? And she want to stay with you and be with you, probably because she sympathizes with you. Man, this poor guy, he ain't gonna. Maybe you're good looking, maybe you got, you know how to handle business, right? But at the end of the day, you're still at the bottom, right? And you'll never grow allowing the woman to be the head. Man, you got to rise up and start being the head in your relationship, being the head in even in your own life. That's what the Most High requires, right? And so you got to think about the generations behind you. I don't worry about them, this and that, yeah. But that's why our generations behind us are failing, because weak-minded men like yourselves are not stepping up to the plate and doing and taking care of your own responsibility. And that's my bone to pick, right? I'm tired of seeing this crap. A lot of you so-called men, I'm not going to say a lot. Some of you are so-called believers, followers of the Most High and His truth, right? So-called Hebrew Israelite, right? Playing the part because you want to be, affiliated or looked at in a certain light. But your works show forth. We know who you really are. So I say, hey, get right or get left. We ain't have time to play. The time is near. You can look at the financials. You can look at the wars. You can look at the global economy. Look at anything you want to look at, bro. We ain't got time to play. Get right, get left. All right? That's my plea with you. But I'm tired of it, man. Start manning up. I got a bunch of young men in my home, right? But there's a whole bunch more that aren't being reached. And I hate that, right? Because kids is growing up without fathers. Kids is growing up without mothers because we're failing to do our part. Because we're so caught up with what the media has to provide, right? We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're trying to be something that we're not when we really need to start being who we're called to be and that God's chosen, right? Living according to Him and His example, Because by living by his example, your children will be better off, right? But it just kind of shows on where you are and who you are. You don't really care about your children. You care about yourself. You're so entitled, right? When's the last time you sacrificed for your child? Right? Right? You know your child carries your name. You know your child carries your blood. But you ain't doing nothing to help. Tired of it, man. Guys, get right, man. Get it together. So, now to get to my message. Sorry, man, I had a vent. I'm just, every day I see it. And it's just getting worse. Alright, so, here's my message. Guys and girls, we can't just keep doing the mediocre, thinking God is pleased with us. Alright? There's so much work to be done on the field, and so much people that need to be reached, and we're not doing our part. You hear me? Like you guys, young kids in school, hey man, there's people that are struggling just as bad as we are, or even worse. You know what I'm saying? And they have no outlet. They have no one to turn to because their mom, their dad may not be in the picture, right? And who knows what their circumstances, maybe hungry, maybe homeless, right? I mean, I was homeless before, you know, in high school, right? Middle school, and it was rough, right? Depending on my friends to survive, it's bad. And that was back then. I can imagine now with everything going on, rent's high and it's hard, man, it's just rough. So youth, reach out to your peers, because you never know who's struggling, you know what I mean? And then if you guys need help and they need help, let me know. And we can arrange this. You guys already know who I am. You guys already know what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? And we can make things happen. Now for the older crowd, the older generation, right? With experience and understanding. Okay? It's our part. You know what I'm saying? It said be a father, you know, he's a father to the fatherless, right? But also too, we also got to step in that light. We got to be the example for this generation. How else are they going to know how to be and live? Right? Unless we are the example. We have to be pillars of his word. Something that the youth can come and hide under as we hold up the kingdom, right? They can come and take refuge in his word, right? When we have church service, right? When we have Bible study every Sabbath night, right? We have food, right? If they need to come, they can come, right? It's nothing. Okay? But also too, the things of the spirit, right? We know we just started, sorry guys, I don't know if you guys were here. We just had a feast of unleavened bread. One of the words was about prayer. You know what I'm saying? Prayer. The prayer of the saints availeth much. That means a lot of stuff can happen with the prayers of the saints. And the saints are those that do and keep his commandments and judgments, his laws and what's going on. So, hey, let's keep standing on the word, right? And let's be the examples. Let's be the pillars. And let's keep outreaching. Let's keep talking to those in need, right? Because we all need the Most High. Yeshua HaMashiach. You hear me? Yes, we all need to make it to a point to where we're all baptized. And we all need to make it to a point to where we're able to bring people in so that they can be baptized, okay? And it's a hard truth, man. Man, I see these kids. So I work with the public daily, hours at it, on end, right? Street, just people on the streets. Parents on drugs, little 3-year-old, clueless, begging for money because she hungry, because the parents got an addiction that they can't fight. I'm not for taking a child away from their parents, not at all. But we do got to stand in the gap, right? We do have to let them know, hey, there's another way. We do have to offer them resources. Hey, there's rehab centers, there's this or that. Well, since you don't want to connect with that, let me help you. Does your baby need clothes? Does your baby need shoes? Is she hungry? Does she need a jacket? What are her needs? Right? Because I'm not going to give you money that she can use for something else when I know I can purchase food, clothes, whatever the baby needs, right? Let's stand in the gap, because eventually they're going to see how much we care for their child that they can't take care of. And eventually maybe he's doing something right, and maybe I should listen to this guy or see what he's got to offer, right? Maybe if I turn to the Most High, I can be just like that person that's helping my child. Maybe, right? But we'll never know until we try. We got to go out there and outreach and talk and minister to those in need. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High, you know what I'm saying? He said, hey, physicians aren't the ones that are in need of healing. It's who? The sick and the lame, right? Mm-hmm. There's many people that are sick out there, man. And we're stuck with the same crowd that we've been in for months or years. You know what I'm saying? But it's the people out there in the streets that really need our help. All right? So I plead with you, man. Just, have an open heart and an open mind. Because you never know. You might be saving a soul at the end of the day. Amen. You guys got something to add? Any questions?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of short and sweet, right? And straight to the point. And I really want to drill you guys because this has been plaguing my soul, okay? And it's really been hurting me, all right? And I just, it's out there and it's happening. But we ignore it because we have our own lives to deal with. And everything's fine and dandy for us and we have our own struggles. Let's look past that, right? Because you know what happens to the rich?
They keep getting richer.
How? By giving. The more money you give, as some type of law, right? The more money you give, more money comes back to you, right? So whether you're investing in businesses, investing in smaller businesses, or whatever you're investing in, right? It actually comes back to you because the smaller business that you invest in, maybe, I don't know how it works. Maybe it's just, the orders of operation, but somehow, maybe they tell another company invests in your company because they see that you're helping other companies. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you're hurt. If I'm hurt and stuff like that, man, and I see somebody else that's hurt, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I'm more hurt than you. And nah, man, hey, what's going on? How can I help you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hurt too, man. We can get out of this hole together. And then we could come with scriptures, right? Or this and that. And how do I know? They might have an answer for me as well. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, man, we got to go out there and outreach. We got to go out there and help the lost, man. Because there's many that are lost out there that don't even know the word, right? All right, cool. So here's another thing. I'm not really going to hit on it too much today, but I think next week I will. And it's this. So we right here, we keep the commandments, the statutes, the laws, right? The bylaws. We keep the word of the Most High to the best of our ability, right? Not missing or anything. Now, there's camps out there, right, that claim they do the same thing. Okay? But the way they do it, it's almost a form of manipulation. Okay? And they make it to where only certain people can be saved. Okay? Only certain people can receive salvation. Throughout the whole Bible, we see multiple different people from different backgrounds be used by the Most High. Oh, they're just used though, and they're not making. Okay, cool. So what about New Heaven, New Earth, and New Jerusalem? Right? We know that there's going to be other generations that are not Jews or Hebrews make it in to the New Heaven and New Earth. Though they might not be able to dwell in Jerusalem, they'll still make it in. Right? It's a lot of answers and questions. You know what I'm saying? There's so many holes inside their system, but yet, because they're focused strictly on the black or Hebrew people, that they don't want any other generation to make it in. Remember, the Most High had divorced the Hebrew Israelites for a while. And then that's when he sent his son. First to the Jew and then to the Gentile, right? Well, they're talking about the Gentiles are the Jews that left, you know what I mean, and they were in another nation and this and that. That's the Gentiles. Nah, well, a Jew is a Jew no matter what nation you're in. You know what I'm saying? Oh, because I'm black and I go to Europe, you know what I'm saying, I'm in another nation. Yeah, but I'm still black. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm Mexican and I go to Canada, right? Well, I'm Canadian. Maybe, but you're still Mexican. Like, you know, it doesn't really change your nationality. So, you know what I'm saying? The Hebrew people, Hebrew Israelites or whatnot. And I'm not trying to come down their lane right now. You know, we can definitely talk about a lot of holes that they got. We can talk to teacher Simon at True Hebrews United, the Lord Yeshua. You know what I mean? Definitely take a look at that. And yeah, thank you guys for coming. That's what we talk about next week. You know, we have some great service, great food tonight. You know, and I hope that something that I said tonight might influence you and impact your heart and in your mind. That when we go out into the world after the Sabbath, you know what I'm saying, you keep that in mind, man, and maybe you might make some different choices on that day or at that time. Okay? But don't ever forget things that you learned and picked up here, because eventually you'll probably need it as a tool, right? Because we're not teaching about me. We're teaching about the Most High, right? And we all need instruction. We all need correction, right?
Yes,
Especially
sir.
if we ain't living right and we're slipping up.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming. You guys have a good night. Yeah.